Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A victim of ridicule or pranks. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. A joint made by fastening ends together without overlapping. Finely ground tobacco wrapped in paper, for smoking. Thick end of the handle. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. He deserves a good kick in the butt. To strike, thrust or shove against. He butted his sister out of the way. The small unused part of something, especially the end of a cigarette that is left after smoking. Sports equipment consisting of an object set up for a marksman or archer to aim at. A large cask, especially one holding a volume equivalent to 2 hogsheads or 126 gallons. Place end to end without overlapping. The frames must be butted at the joints. The part of a plant from which the roots spring or the part of a stalk or trunk nearest the roots. A victim of ridicule or pranks. Astrology. A person who is born while the sun is in Capricorn. The 10th sign of the zodiac. The sun is in this sign from about December 22nd to January 19th. Any of numerous agile ruminants related to sheep but having a beard and straight horns. A victim of ridicule or pranks. A victim of ridicule or pranks. A person of unquestioning obedience. Act as a stooge, in a compliant or subordinate manner. He stooged for the flamboyant senator. Act as the stooge. His role was to stooge for the popular comedian. Cruise in slow or routine flights. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Canada adjoins the U.S. Be in direct physical contact with, make contact. Attach or add. I adjoin a copy of your my lawyer's letter. Form the boundary of, be contiguous to. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Extend on all sides of simultaneously, encircle. A decorative recessed or relieved surface on an edge. Provide with a border or edge. A line that indicates a boundary. Enclose in or as if in a frame. The boundary of a surface. The boundary line or the area immediately inside the boundary. A strip forming the outer edge of something. The rug had a wide blue border. Collide violently with an obstacle. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. The attribute of urgency in tone of voice. His voice had an edge to it. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. Advance slowly, as if by inches. He edged towards the car. Provide with a border or edge. Edge the tablecloth with embroidery. The boundary of a surface. A line determining the limits of an area. A sharp side formed by the intersection of two surfaces of an object. He rounded the edges of the box. A slight competitive advantage. He had an edge on the competition. Provide with an edge. Edge a blade. The outside limit of an object or area or surface. A place farthest away from the center of something. The edge of the leaf is wavy. Lie adjacent to another or share a boundary. England marches with Scotland. The act of marching, walking with regular steps, especially in a procession of some kind. It was a long march. The month following February and preceding April. March in a procession. Walk ostentatiously. A degree granted for the successful completion of advanced study of architecture. District consisting of the area on either side of a border or boundary of a country or an area. The Welsh marches between England and Wales. Genre of music written for marching. Sousa wrote the best marches. March in protest. Take part in a demonstration. A procession of people walking together. The march went up Fifth Avenue. A steady advance. The march of science. Cause to march or go at a marching pace. They marched the mules into the desert. Force to march. The Japanese marched their prisoners through Manchuria. Walk fast, with regular or measured steps. Walk with a stride. He marched into the classroom and announced the exam. A joint made by fastening ends together without overlapping. Finely ground tobacco wrapped in paper, for smoking. Finely ground tobacco wrapped in paper, for smoking. Finely ground tobacco wrapped in paper, for smoking. Exhaust or get tired through overuse or great strain or stress. Offensive term for a homosexual man. Finely ground tobacco wrapped in paper, for smoking. Work hard. Act as a servant for older boys, in British public schools. Thick end of the handle. Vulgar slang for anus. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. Slang for sexual intercourse. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. A pompous fool. Hardy and sure-footed animal smaller and with longer ears than the horse. The side of an object that is opposite its front. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. Of timepieces. My watch is running behind. In debt. He fell behind with his mortgage payments. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. Having the lower score or lagging position in a contest. Behind by 2 points. Low-lying alluvial land near a river. A cargo ship. They did much of their overseas trade in foreign bottoms. The second half of an inning, while the home team is at bat. A depression forming the ground under a body of water. The lower side of anything. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. Come to understand. Provide with a bottom or a seat. Bottom the chairs. Situated at the bottom or lowest position. The bottom drawer. Strike the ground, as with a ship's bottom. The lowest part of anything. They started at the bottom of the hill. The lowest rank. Bottom member of the class. Ask for and get free. Be a parasite. Person who does no work. A lazy bum. Be lazy or idle. Her son is just bumming around all day. A person who is deemed to be despicable or contemptible. Throw the bum out. A vagrant. He tried to help the really down and out bums. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. Of very poor quality, flimsy. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. A buoy with a round bottom and conical top. A plumbing fixture for defecation and urination. A room or building equipped with one or more toilets. Terminate the employment of. Discharge from an office or position. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. Preserve in a can or tin. The quantity contained in a can. Airtight sealed metal container for food or drink or paint, etc. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. External female sex organs. In England, fanny is vulgar slang for female genitals. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. Are you going to sit on your fanny and do nothing? Lowest support of a structure. The fundamental assumptions from which something is begun or developed or calculated or explained. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on. The part of an animal that corresponds to the human buttocks. The fleshy part of the human body that you sit on.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.